Sun god Ra. In Egypt, the sun wasn't just a ball of fire in the sky. It was Ra, the most important god of them all. Ra didn't just shine, he ran the entire cosmic schedule. Every morning, he hopped in his solar boat, cruised across the sky, and brought light and order to the world. At sunset, he sailed into the underworld, where every night he had to fight the giant chaos serpent Apep, win the fight, and the sun rose again. Lose? Well, eternal darkness. No pressure. Ra wasn't just light and warmth, though. He was also king of the gods. Pharaohs even claimed to be sons of Ra, which is probably the most hardcore way to say, I'm in charge. Temples to Ra were everywhere, and he was often drawn with a falcon head and a blazing solar disk above it, basically the ultimate logo design. Over time, Ra merged with other gods, like Amun-Ra, a kind of super combo deity who was worshipped as the creator and king of all gods. That's the thing with sun gods. Once people get used to seeing your face every morning, they start thinking you run everything. And for the Egyptians, Ra wasn't just a light in the sky. He was proof that order could defeat chaos every single day. Helios. The Greeks had Helios, the shining titan who drove a golden chariot pulled by fiery horses across the sky. While everyone today knows Apollo as the god of the sun, originally it was Helios who handled the actual daily commute. Picture him as the overworked cosmic Uber driver, showing up every morning without fail. Helios saw everything, literally, because from up in the sky, nothing escaped his gaze. That made him handy for snitching on affairs. He was the one who told Hephaestus about Aphrodite and Ares sneaking around. So yeah, the sun god was also the neighborhood gossip. One of his most famous myths involves his son, Phaethon. The kid begged to drive the sun chariot for a day. Helios, like any dad who gives in too easily, said yes. Disaster followed. Phaethon lost control, scorched the earth, created deserts, and was finally struck down by Zeus to stop him from burning the whole planet. Moral of the story? Don't give your teenager the keys to a flaming god chariot. Helios kept his job, but Apollo slowly became more popular, eventually stealing his brand. That's how you know myths are like reboots. The old cast gets replaced. Apollo. By the classical Greek era, Apollo was the new face of the sun. Originally a god of music, prophecy, and medicine, Apollo eventually got merged with Helios until people just called him the sun god. Think of him as the celebrity upgrade. Glamorous, multi-talented, and worshipped across the Greek world. Apollo wasn't driving fiery horses. He was too refined for that. But he embodied the sun's qualities: shining brilliance, order, and life-giving power. He was the golden boy of Olympus, handsome, artistic, and occasionally terrifying. Sure, he played the lyre beautifully, but he could also rain down plagues with his arrows, sunshine, but with a bite. What makes Apollo interesting is how much he represented balance. He stood for harmony, reason, and clarity, the opposite of his twin sister Artemis, goddess of the moon and wild chaos. Together they were a cosmic sibling duo, day and night, reason and instinct. Apollo's sun was light and knowledge, showing the world what was clear and rational, which, in Greek myth, usually lasted about 5 minutes before someone ruined everything. Surya. In Hindu mythology, Surya is the sun god who rides across the sky in a chariot pulled by 7 horses. That's not just a cool image. Those horses represent the 7 colors of light, or the 7 days of the week. Basically, Surya is both cosmic Uber driver and walking calendar. He's also shown with golden arms, radiant hair, and 3 eyes, because one set of eyes apparently isn't enough when you're staring at the universe all day. Surya wasn't just light in the sky. He was a vital part of everyday life. Ancient Hindus worshipped him for health, energy, and prosperity. In fact, even today, you'll find rituals like Surya Namaskar, sun salutations, where worshippers honor him at dawn. He wasn't distant or abstract. He was immediate, practical, and essential. Without Surya, crops wouldn't grow, life would wither, and time itself would lose its rhythm. But of course, Surya's myths had plenty of drama too. His blazing heat was so intense that even his wife, Saranyu, couldn't handle it. She literally ran away and replaced herself with a shadow double so she wouldn't have to live with him. Classic, it's not you, it's your unbearable light. Surya might be brilliant and powerful, but he's also a reminder that even the brightest gods can be a little too much. Amaterasu. Now to Japan, where Amaterasu reigns as the Shinto goddess of the sun. She's one of the most important deities in the Japanese pantheon, and the imperial family even claimed descent from her, making her divine royalty. If Ra was Egypt's solar king, Amaterasu was Japan's solar queen. Her story is legendary. One day, after a nasty fight with her stormy brother Susanoo, Amaterasu got so angry that she hid in a cave. Without her, the world was plunged into total darkness. Crops failed, chaos reigned, and everyone panicked. The other gods eventually tricked her out by throwing a noisy party outside the cave, complete with laughter, dancing, and a mirror. Curious, Amaterasu peeked out, saw her own radiant reflection, and couldn't resist stepping back into the world. Boom, light returned. Amaterasu isn't just light in the sky, she's order, culture, and civilization. Her withdrawal showed how fragile balance is, and her return showed how joy and community can literally bring back the sun. She's still celebrated today in rituals and shrines across Japan, especially at Ise Shrine, where the emperor traditionally honored her. Amaterasu's story makes one thing clear. The sun isn't just heat and light, it's the heart of society itself. Inti. For the Inca civilization high in the Andes, Inti was everything. He was the sun god, the bringer of warmth, the grower of crops, and the literal ancestor of emperors. The Inca called themselves children of the sun, which is a pretty bold way of saying, our dad is more important than yours. Inti's worship wasn't just religious, it was political. The emperor, or Sapa Inca, ruled with the authority of being Inti's descendant, which gave him divine backing. Temples to Inti, like the famous Coricancha in Cusco, were lined with gold to reflect his brilliance. Farmers relied on him for their harvests, and every June, the festival of Inti Raymi celebrated him with offerings, dances, and feasts to make sure he kept shining. But Inti wasn't just warm hugs and golden fields. If people disrespected him or failed in their rituals, they feared he'd bring droughts or disasters. In other words, he could be as harsh as the high-altitude sun itself. For the Inca, the sun was the center of life, and Inti was the beating heart of their empire. Without him, both crops and kings would fail. And in a civilization built on mountains, you really wanted the sun on your side. Tonatiuh. In Aztec mythology, the sun god Tonatiuh wasn't just about light, he was about sacrifice. The Aztecs believed the sun wouldn't rise without human blood to fuel it. That meant Tonatiuh was less of a gentle sunrise and more of a cosmic drill sergeant shouting, "Feed me or else." His image usually showed him sticking out his tongue, which wasn't meant to be cute. It symbolized the demand for nourishment, and by nourishment, he meant hearts. Tonatiuh also ruled over the current age of the world, the so-called fifth sun. The Aztecs believed the cosmos had already gone through 4 failed eras, each destroyed by catastrophe: jaguars, wind, fire, and floods. This 5th round was fragile, and Tonatiuh needed sacrifices to keep it going. Without them, the sun would stall, the world would end, and chaos would swallow everything. It sounds grim, but it made sense in Aztec society. The sun gave crops, warmth, and life, but it also scorched and destroyed if left unchecked. Tonatiuh was both giver and taker, proof that the sun isn't just a cozy light bulb in the sky, it's power, and power demands a price. Witzilapley. If Tonatiuh was the cosmic sun, Witzilapley was the warrior sun. Another Aztec deity tied to the sun and war, he was the patron god of the Aztec capital Tenochtitlan and the ultimate battle icon. His name means hummingbird of the south, which sounds cute until you realize he was a hummingbird carrying a flaming spear and commanding armies. Witzilapley's myth begins with one of the bloodiest family dramas in mythology. His mother, Tonatiuh, became pregnant under mysterious circumstances, which enraged her many children. They plotted to kill her, but before they could, Witzilapley burst fully armed from his mother's womb and slaughtered his siblings. Talk about being born ready. From then on, Witzilapley was linked to the sun's daily battle. Each day he fought against the forces of darkness, and each night he needed energy, which the Aztecs provided through sacrifices to rise again. For the Aztecs, war wasn't just politics, it was cosmic necessity. Every captured enemy was fuel for the sun god's survival. Brutal? Absolutely. But in their worldview, it was how the universe kept turning. Sol. Finally, let's head north to the Norse world, where Sol, the goddess of the sun, drove her blazing chariot across the sky. But unlike Ra or Helios, her daily commute wasn't peaceful. She was being chased. Every single day, a giant wolf named Skull ran after her chariot, snapping at her heels. Every sunset, that's when the wolf nearly caught her. Every sunrise, she escaped again, at least for now. But Norse mythology didn't promise eternal safety. At Ragnarok, the wolf would finally catch and devour Sol, plunging the world into darkness. The sun goddess was doomed from the start. Her light was always temporary, yet she kept driving day after day, staving off the inevitable. That's very Norse. Even if you're fated to lose, you fight anyway. Sol might not have demanded sacrifices or ruled empires like other sun gods, but her story carried a deeper weight. The sun is fleeting, fragile, and constantly under threat, and every dawn is a victory, no matter how brief. And that's the world's sun gods, rulers, warriors, and cosmic drivers who kept the light alive, sometimes with love, sometimes with blood, and always with drama. If you enjoyed this, stick around for the next one. And hey, subscribing wouldn't hurt.